You ready? Mark, you ready?
Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the special town meeting, June 21st, 2017. Eugene Cushman, I'm the town meeting moderator. And if you could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Assistant Town Clerk, if you could read the call, please.
Town of East Lyme, notice of special town meeting. Notice is hereby given of a special town meeting of the Town of East Lyme to be held on Wednesday, June 21, 2017 at 7 p.m. at the East Lyme Town Hall Upper Meeting Room for the following purposes. 1. To receive communications from the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance with respect to a resolution entitled Resolution Making an Appropriation in the Aggregate Amount of $150,000 for the Planning, Design, Construction, and Improvement of a Basketball Court at Peretz Park and Boathouse Rowing Docks, and authorizing the issuance of $150,000 bonds of the town to meet said appropriation, and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowings for such purpose. 2. To consider and act upon a resolution entitled Resolution Making an Appropriation in the Aggregate Amount of $150,000 for the Planning, Design, Construction, and Improvement of a Basketball Court at Peretz Park and Boathouse Rowing Docks, and authorizing the issuance of $150,000 bonds of the town to meet said appropriation, and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowings for such purpose. 3. To receive communications from the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance with respect to a resolution entitled Resolution Making an Appropriation in the amount of $990,000 for the rehabilitation of various town roads, sidewalks, and a parking lot, and the replacement of a crossing light, and authorizing the issuance of $990,000 bonds of the town to meet said appropriations, and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowings for such purpose. 4. To consider and act upon a resolution entitled Resolution Making an Appropriation in the amount of $990,000 for the rehabilitation of various town roads, sidewalks, and a parking lot, and the replacement of a crossing light, and authorizing the issuance of $990,000 bonds of the town to meet said appropriations, and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowings for such purpose. 5. To approve a special appropriation in the amount of $31,855 from CNRE Fund 32 to account 32-99-400-700-701 BOE vehicles. 6. To approve a special appropriation in the amount of $34,405 from CNRE Fund 32 to account to be established titled ELHS Dust Collection System. 7. To approve a special appropriation in the amount of up to $81,726.35 from the remaining balance of the 2016-17 Vehicle Acquisition Program to purchase 2 police vehicles with related equipment. 8. To approve a special appropriation in the amount of $28,313.88 in account 32-25-200-700-472 PS Police Patrol Vehicle Equipment as follows. Reallocation of $21,813.88 in account 32-25-200-700-472 PS Police Patrol Vehicle Equipment. Transfer and reallocation of $3,172.13 from account 32-30-400-700-711 Paint Vehicles. $1,490 from account 32-30-400-700-712 PWD Stainless Sander, and $275.75 from account 32-30-400-700-713 PWD Pickup Truck Equipment. and appropriate and transfer $1,562.12 from account 32-60-120-100-002, proceeds from the sale of vehicles. 9, to approve a special appropriation for the following projects in CNRE Fund 32, which are consistent with the 2017-18 Capital Improvement Plan. CNRE Municipal Project, Town Projects Roof, $10,000. HVAC Replacement Townwide, $10,000. Replace Cooling Tower, ELCC, $20,000. Sidewalk Repair, Townwide, $25,000. Town Projects Various, $43,389. Townwide Servers, $5,000. Revaluation, $50,000, for a total of $163,389. 10, to approve a special appropriation in the amount of $50,000 in CNRE Fund 32 to revenue and expenditure accounts titled Connecticut Institute for Resilience and Climate Adaptation CIRCA grant. 11, to transact any other business proper to come before the meeting. Copies of the proposed bond resolution are on file and open to public inspection in the office of the town clerk. This was signed by the Board of Selectmen, posted on the signpost on June 8th of 2017, and published in the day newspaper on June 14th.
Thank you, Madam Assistant Town Clerk. Go over the ground rules under Connecticut General Statute 7-6. You must be an elector of the town or 18 years of age, a U.S. citizen with taxable property on the grand list of 10-116 of $1,000 or more. Under Connecticut General Statute 9-360, any person not eligible to vote but who does vote may be subject to the following. 1, a fine of not less than $300 nor more than $500. 2, imprisoned for not less than 1 year nor more than 2 years. 3, disenfranchised, or 4, all of the above. Madam Assistant Town Clerk, please note for the record that we have received the communication on item 1 and 3. I appoint the registrars as tellers and checkers in the event that they're needed, and I don't see them. There they are, way back, at least one. If you wish to address the meeting, please come up to the podium and give your name and address for the record. If you are not eligible to vote but wish to address the meeting, please make that fact known before you address the meeting. Please do not conduct a dialogue amongst yourselves. Direct all questions. I will do that, Mr. Rando.
Thank you.
Please do not talk amongst yourselves or direct all questions or comments through the moderator. Okay, we're going to take up the items as they appear on the agenda. The first item is receiving communication. We need not do that. So the first item that we'll take up is item number 2. And by the way, item number 5 was not approved by the Board of Finance, so that is not going to provide business tonight. The first item we're going to take up is item number 2, to consider and act upon a resolution entitled Resolution Making an Appropriation in the Aggregate Amount of $150,000 for the planning, design, construction, and improvement of a basketball court at Peretz Park and the boathouse rowing docks, and authorizing the issuance of $150,000 bonds of the town to meet said appropriation, and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowing for such proposal. Do I hear a resolution?
So moved.
Mr. Siri, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Did you get that? Okay. We'll open the floor for discussion. Mr. First Selectman, you wish to be heard.
Yes, sir. Is that? Yes, sir.
Might as well stay in here. That's right, we're here. Mr. Moderator, thank you for allowing me to come up here. I'm Mark Nickerson, the First Selectman. Welcome to the folks that have never come out to a town meeting before. There's so many here tonight. I'm sure there's a few rookies. So this is the end of the process. If you'd allow me just to explain a little bit of the process and why we're here tonight. It's all the items that you'll see tonight have already been decided and put into our budget that were discussed back in January, February, March, went into our budget. Our budget was approved through a referendum, and now to actually spend the money that was identified, we have to then appropriate the money. So then the Board of Selectmen hears a request, the Board of Finance hears a request, it forwards on to the town meeting. This is where the citizens get to also reaffirm that this is what we're spending the money on. So a lot of presentations on all these items in great detail have been done already several times. So we're probably, unless it's requested and unless there's a need to, we won't go into great detail, but we're prepared to. We have town department heads here and coaches here and people who use this equipment and these vehicles, et cetera, that can explain if necessary. So the first one is $120,000 to replace the basketball courts at Peretz Park. Those are original to the park, I do believe. We're going to put a new surface in at the basketball courts that are used whenever there's not snow on the ground. Those courts are used, and we're putting new hoops in as well, which are tired and they do need to be replaced. And that you typically would do that when you change the surface. That's $130,000. Well, it's $130,000, and then $20,000 is for the docks. And the docks down at Patagonia Lake are used by the crew teams, but also for citizens using kayaks, and we have summer row programs as well. Those docks are very old, they're very rusted, they've failed now, and they're at a point now where there's a great liability to anybody using them. Coaches have testified already at Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance that they need to be replaced, and they're beyond repair. And this would be a good investment, especially for our two-year in a row state champ women's crew team, who are also represented here tonight. So that's what I have for you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you, Mr. First Selectman. Would anyone else like to be heard? Mr. Rando? Can you get around, Mr. Rando?
What?
I was asking if you could get around, if you could
Yeah,
get.
I can walk, I'm not dead yet, sir. Almost, not quite.
We can move this chair out, because there is a little bit of a trip hazard going
Ronald Randall on 194 Boston Post Road, East Lyme. I just want to thank all you people for being here. I've been to many of these meetings, I haven't ever seen this many people yet. Congratulations. Good evening, Mr. Moderator.
Mr.
How are you
Randall?
this fine evening?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. You know, we're in financial straits in this state right now, and we don't know what we're gonna get from the state yet. So, I mean, all this money is, this $1,531,000 I have here, $689 from the last town meeting I was at. So I think we should take a long, hard look at what we're spending. Hey, Mr. Nixon said all this is in the budget. If all this was in the budget, we sure in hell would have had a lot more tax increase than 0.66 and then on up to 0.8. So I don't understand why we gotta spend $150,000 on the tennis court right now. I'd like to know, through you, Mr. Moderator, how many towns use that court out there?
Mr. Rando, I believe you said tennis court. Do you mean basketball?
I'm sorry, basketball court.
Would anyone like to answer Mr. Rando's question?
Sure. Dave Putnam, Park and Rec Director. That's an open facility.
Mr. Putnam, can you come up to the microphone, please?
So it's an open basketball court. We don't have structured play there. I have no way of really dictating or giving you numbers on how many non-residents use it, but I know quite a few residents use it, but I couldn't put a definite number on that.
Thank you, Mr. Putnam.
Well, I think what we should do is probably find that out. But I am probably gonna be up here quite a bit tonight before we get over this deal. And I can't see spending $150,000 on those tennis courts right now. is something that's not needed as far as I'm concerned. And maybe we should patch it a little bit. But we got a lot of other problems in this town that we should spend money on, and not $150,000 on a basketball court, I'm sorry. I still got the tennis court in my mind up there.
Thank you, Mr. Randall.
$109,000 more than we were supposed to spend. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to be heard? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Christina Fenton. I live at 130 Boston Post Road, East Lyme, Connecticut. I recently graduated from East Lyme High School on Friday, and during my last year as a Viking, I had the honor and privilege of being one of the girls' crew captains. And so for the past 4 years, that means I have been rowing for a daily basis out of that boathouse. And for 2 of those 4 years, I noticed something. Something was different every day I went on that dock. And slowly, it was becoming less and less safe. And when it first started happening, it was ignorable. It was a little wobbly when you stepped on it. But when you're carrying those boats, those very heavy boats, and you're having 9 people, sometimes 18 people on it at the same time, it would sink. It would sink into the water. And so everyone kind of tried to ignore it at first. But it started to move back and forth as the wind pushed it so badly to the point where actually one day during practice, the wind pushed it off of its hinges and it moved parallel to the shore. Thankfully, our boys who were on land and our coaches were quick on their feet and they were able to hold it in place so the rest of us could get off the water safely. And thankfully, with the help of parents, we were able to make temporary fixes. But it's very important that this is safe, because not only do rowers use this, people of the town use this. We see teenagers down there all the time just sitting on the docks, hanging out. We see fishermen down there all the time. And it's no longer just an inconvenience. It's a public danger. It's very dangerous to be going on and off these docks, whether you're just fishing or whether you're there to row. And I have pictures of the dock in its current condition if anyone would like to see it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Fenton. And Ms. Fenton, as a former Marine, when you go to boot camp, go there in shape. Don't think you're going to get in shape there. Be in shape before you get there.
Right. I'll keep that in mind.
Okay, would anyone else like to be heard? Seeing no hands, we'll move the question. All in favor to consider an act and a resolution entitled Resolution Making an Appropriation in the aggregated amount of $150,000 for the planning, design, construction, and improvement of a basketball court at Peretz Park and Boathouse Rowing Dock, and authorizing the issuance of a $150,000 bond of the town to meet said appropriation, and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowing, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by saying nay.
No.
The ayes have it, the resolution carries. The next item on the agenda was to receive communication, which we have already done, so we're going to move to item number 4, to consider and act upon a resolution entitled Resolution Making an Appropriation in the amount of $990,000 for the rehabilitation of various town roads, sidewalks, and a parking lot, and the replacement thereof, a crossing light, and authorizing the issuance of $990,000 bond of the town to meet said appropriation, and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowing for such purposes. Do I hear a resolution?
So moved.
Mr. Siri, is there a second? Mr. Morris? Is there any discussion? Mr. First Selectman?
You know, the sound of that cute baby reminds us that we always are planning for the next generation in the town. And this is a good example. We are in dire straits in the state, but this spending is all part of the plan and was in our budget. And part of our plan is always to spend $900,000 a year on the 120 miles of road. If you stretch our road out, you go past Boston. Boston's close to the 120 miles. That's how much road we have, just town road, not state road. And we have to keep those in repair. So we spend $900,000 annually on that. We're also putting in a lighted sidewalk. So you hit the button and the lights blink. And that's right across from the high school. We've had one student recently get hit in the sidewalk, in the crosswalk, get hit. Serious injury to the hospital, the whole bit, and several others with near misses. Cars don't see kids there, and we need a blinking light there. And also, we're putting in a sidewalk between the middle school and the Lily B to connect the pedestrian walkways through that area. We have a lot of kids that leave middle school, but in the winter, with the snow pushed up against the road, the kids have to walk in the street. With the amount of traffic that's going down that road now, we need to get kids off the road. And there's a lot of walkers. They go to the library, they go to the youth center, they go to across the street to the churches where there's now recreation programs going on, and they even walk home. So that's what this resolution is about, and I ask for your vote.
Thank you, Mr. First Selectman. Would anyone else like to be heard? Yes, sir. Is that Mr. Rando again? You moved your seat.
You need my name again, ma'am?
Yes, we do, Mr. Rando.
Huh?
We
What?
need your name again.
Ronald Rando. What is, through you, Mr. Moderator, to Mr. Nickerson, please?
If he wishes.
150 and 990, that is figured in our budget this year. How is it figured? As the bonding debt?
Capital plan.
As bonding debt. So this is gonna be paid off in 25 years, right?
It's a 20-year.
20-year bond? Do you know what our bonding debt is right now? You don't know? Okay. I asked that
I
question.
can answer that.
Okay, all right.
But the moderator told me to answer it in the microphone. 50,
Well, principal and interest, 57 million.
so 57 million, sir.
Before we bond this, it's 57 million.
Yes, and meanwhile paying off old debt as well,
Yeah,
right?
I understand that. But it's like the $20 trillion the government owes, you know. You pay it off in 13 years, but the interest is still climbing, so it gets to be the same. Some people gotta understand that time has come that we gotta cut down on what we're spending. I just heard today that Illinois is in debt for $180 billion. They haven't got enough money to pay the Powerball if they win it in Illinois. And that's what's happening here. You know, I was, so off a little bit, I'll forget about that right now. But I'm not a great one for bonding, I'm sorry. I was brought up in an Italian family. And if you couldn't afford it, you didn't buy it. And when you bought it, you paid cash. My grandfathers did that. They never owed a dime. They couldn't get any credit. And that's the way I was brought up. You don't spend what you don't have. And that's what we do every time. Every year comes budget. We pass the budget and we put things off budget after the budget's passed. Money's moved around. It's things have got to change. And I think they got to change for the better one of these days. And that's what I got to say about that, but I shall be back. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rando. Would anyone else like to be heard? Yes, young man. Come on up here, please. I'm assuming you're not eligible to vote.
No, I'm not voting here. I just wanted to ask,
Say your name.
hi, I am Ethan Stewart. I am at 17 Saunders Drive, Atlantic, Connecticut, I'm assuming, yeah. And then I was wondering, for this $990,000, it's obviously a lot of money, and very for a point that he brought up, that we need to make sure if we keep overspending and then debt builds up, interest, all that stuff. However, to address that, I mean, we can't just say that we're not going to spend any money on sidewalks or roads. I mean, it's a danger. However, like, I'm sure there's been a lot of deliberation on this before, but like, how much of this money is necessary versus improvements, like repair versus improvements, you know what I mean?
Mr. Nixon, you want to answer that? He's coming after you now.
want to congratulate that.
You're not running for first selectman, are you? Not yet. We could use you in the State House. Yeah, I've met. This is the same gentleman. This young gentleman won a C-SPAN award last year with a couple of his friends, a national award, and C-SPAN came down and gave these guys a tribute. Some remarkable kids in our school system and remarkable families that support these kids. There is such thing as a dire need. Like the roads crumbling and falling apart, potholes, and people calling up saying, I just busted my tire because of that. And then there's if you don't do it now, it will cost you a lot more later. And I know I saw Joe Bergaw here. Is that gentleman there? See, he just raised his hand. He's the guy who fixes the roads. He's the public works director. I won't make this long, Mr. Monroe. We have a long meeting tonight. But he'll tell you that if we maintain the roads and just put the tar on there and the crushed rock, you see sometimes we do that costs like 10% of what digging up a whole road is and putting out a brand new blacktop. So we take the roads that's out there now, and this guy is a genius. You're pretty smart yourself, but Joe's got every road in town, every mile, 120 of them, mapped out on what's needed. And we're trying to extend the life of all that hot top, all that asphalt. And we do that by grinding it down just a half an inch and mixing it with tar and putting it back on instead of digging up the whole road. But if we didn't spend that $900,000 this year and we put it off, that's that many roads that aren't being fixed, and down the way we'll be paying dearly for it. And that $900,000 might only go to fix 10 miles of road instead of this year it might fix 20 miles or 30. So preventive maintenance is just as important as repairing the really bad decrepit roads. So I hope that answers your question. It's a great question. Keep coming around.
Thank you, Mr. First Selectman. Would anyone else like to be heard? Seeing no hands, we will move the question. To consider and act upon a resolution entitled Resolution Making an Appropriation in the amount of $990,000 for the rehabilitation of various town roads, sidewalks, and a parking lot, and the replacement of a crossing light, and authorizing the issuance of $990,000 bond of the town to meet said appropriation, and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowing for such purposes. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by saying nay. The ayes have it. The resolution carries. Item 5 on the agenda is not going forward. Item 6 on the agenda is to approve a special appropriation in the amount of $34,405 from CNRE Fund 32 to account to be established titled East Lyme High School Dust Collection System. Is there a resolution?
So moved.
Mr. Siri, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Hagan, would anyone like to be heard? Mr. Randall, you want to go?
I'm the only one, huh?
You want to explain what it is?
Well, this is something that got my crawl a little bit. We had excuse me, I'm sorry, Ronald Randall. We had these automotive shop, we had wood shops, we had classes for the girls to learn how to cook and bake, and we did away with that. We didn't need them anymore. But now you look and listen to some of these business people that are looking for workers. They don't have any people who can do the job. They're either a lawyer or an engineer.
Nothing wrong with that?
And my wife is from Germany, and she went to school in Germany. And she talks pretty good English. She learned herself.